having a number of meetings with victims, some of which are in hiding, and having victim groups. And you know what I'm finding out? Similar stories across the board. I'll read a few for you. Before I do that, I met with a group of people from FRM, mostly the elderly, the ones that haven't committed suicide. And then I see Senator Shaheen and her campaign ad, having her arm around veterans and the elderly. I'll tell you, I just met a group of elderly. They're all the victims of FRM. Why don't you put your arm around them? You were the one that appointed the banking commissioner, who had his brothers on the Ponzi scheme. And you know what else I found in this victim group that were pretty unusual, and I never heard anybody else say? I don't think all the victims knew this, but most of them had Shaheen and Gordon as their lawyer. They reached out to them. Or can you say cover-up? Kakavas, the U.S. attorney, the prosecutor, his business partner, Mark Howard, was the defense attorney, and Shaheen and Gordon represented the victims? How's that for a tight little package? All right, let's go back to some of these victims. Here's one. Here's a gentleman who starts by saying, I'm writing in support of Mike Gill's charges that New Hampshire legal system is corrupt and far more common with organized crime than the legal and justice system. He went to the PCC and they kicked out for statutes of limitations. Remember? That's what happened to me. Turns out that's what happens all the time. Remember? Ronnie Wise is in the PCC. My last contract with the Attorney General's office, I received a letter from the IRS. Me too. Mr. Gill has staked his reputation, his personal wealth, attempting to expose these criminals to old-fashioned American justice. And there is not a day that goes by that I don't relive the legal pillaging of my family and my children's lives at the hands of these scoundrels and lawyers. Me too. And then he finishes it. This is a copy of a letter that went to the Attorney General's office. And even at the end, he says, I apologize for my emotions slipping through, as they will probably use it against me. You see, here's the commonality. Make victims feel like criminals. Make them feel that you're going to come back and take whatever they have left back. That was the people with FRM. And that's this individual. Well, we're not done. I met a woman on Friday whose husband worked for Blackwater. Really? Maybe you've heard of them. And she's telling me that they have taped me, recorded me, followed me. Really? And then I'm on a blacklist. Good. Good. Now let's take a look. Here's another lady. I have viewed several of your videos with great interest. My family has to file complaints with the federal authorities with respect to similar experiences in New Hampshire. I am currently out of the country due to fear of my safety. From the FBI? Wow. Do you remember Donna Sedgwick? I am scared to death for my life. Did you know she works for Kakavas, with Kakavas, at Wingers and Norrie, and for John Ross? She's afraid for her life. So is she. I would wholeheartedly agree with your collective complaints fall under the jurisdiction of the federal authorities, but due to the named parties in my complaint, there is a task to be undertaken lightly. For all of our sakes, please proceed with caution. You are correct when you say that RICO laws apply, and that the reason alone in our situation is not for civilians. I've had no success with the Boston FBI. Either have I. Remember how I left and they stopped me in Bedford? They don't want you filing a case. And this is constant amongst them all. Women coming in and they scream in their face so they can't file. Here's another one said, Boston. Boston says, open 10:15 to 5 o'clock. Guess what? They wouldn't see me. Even though I'm on the phone saying this is what had happened, I'm showing these statements where my children's lives were at risk and threatened. But let's go over that again in a second. So she also, see the commonalities? No FBI help. But I want you to listen to this last paragraph. My family wishes to respectfully make a request that if you do succeed in your quest for federal jurisdiction, that will remain mindful of other victims who are seriously in jeopardy if the matter blows up. There is no protection. We never got the benefit of warning in the past. We just got physical action and the terror that attaches. This is one of your fellow citizens in New Hampshire. She didn't do anything wrong. She just bumped into the wrong people. Just like I bumped into the wrong people. Now I'm going to run over the wrong people. Now, what she's saying seems to be so far-fetched. Let's go back to those text messages from one of my attorneys, remember? I can show you legal documents in your divorce that you've never seen before. About Lisa Tracy, about Sarah, about their legal counsel. What if I told you I'd give you pictures, files, docs secretly have of you? What if I told you they have tapes they have of you? They have your schedule. They have a mole in your business. I'm going to bring up Miller left, but Miller's the mole. Is your business a text you? If you could tell who it is to prove it, what if it's big? I need protection. The authorities, they own them. We both know that. Yes, I do. The Heat, when I refer to bringing it to the public, the Heat are the officials of New Hampshire. The victims are the public of New Hampshire. I thought we were on the same page. We are. Just the rest of New Hampshire is not on the same page. You understand? Don't miss this. This is why the FBI won't take these texts, because they'll catch them. If I was a bad person, I'd be working for them and not have a heart. I was warned by others, collected this info, as well as have hearts and care and know what's going on is wrong. Oh, so we worked for the group that collected this information. And in this group, they believe there's people that know what's happening is wrong. Well, why don't we come on forwards? All right. Now, let's see if I can show you that I can catch them. He references a mole on the text. The mole was attorney Amy Miller. Her job was to wipe out the depositions. They were going to have me go into a deposition, quite literally, by myself, no paralegals, and not have a camera. That's what they're fighting for us now. Remember the courtroom with the camera? Can you imagine what you would have seen without one? They didn't want one. They don't want the same mistake. But more importantly, they're going to try to blow up the deposition, said I was unruly, whatever. But my point is because they can't have it. No lawyer can give a deposition and tell the truth and not go to prison. Not these guys. So that's where we are, and that was Miller's job. Far-stretched? What if I show you that Miller had an email that I simply asked her, what discussions you have had for opposing counsel? Just prior to the deposition, I pulled her out in front of 2 witnesses, because I knew she was a spy, said that if I gave you that information, it would incriminate me. The discussions with the opposing counsel would incriminate you? Again, you find that hard to believe? I've got 2 witnesses, signed affidavits of just such. How's this? I'm going to put a snapshot of a video we took right after the deposition exploded. You see, I brought a cameraman. I knew it was going to happen. And we took a video of these lawyers, the lawyer I just fired, Miller, with the opposing counsel talking well over an hour. But we filmed it. When they found that out, the police were there. They were trying to get that tape. Well, I explained to the police that right before they take my tape, they're going to have to go across the street and grab Walmart's. They decided not to do that, so I get to keep my tape, and you get to see the spy that she was. When I approached them, Miller would opposing counsel. Miller says, oh, we just had a conversation. I live in Brookline, and she lives in Somerville. Really? What a coincidence. There's only 1 million people between you. Wow, a lot to talk about. You see, they're in on it too. They can't have these lawyers. They'd be telling them about extortion, bribes. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So, I'm going to file a RICO complaint against Miller. She only turned around and incriminated and brought in my paralegals. Remember that forgery in court? Miller had one of the paralegals stuff it into one of our boxes. The original. Right. Watch, we have that out there to be authenticated. You're going to find out that it's either Ross or Sedgwick. Then what? But that's what they do. Miller had that done. Miller was trying to tell us we couldn't file RICOs, and having each of our employees say that, except where we can, and we have. You know, the first one is going to be Miller. And then we're filing Friedman as a RICO, who is part of the BBO. See? He is what Wise is in the PCC. That's how they protect these and leverage these guys. And then we're going to file against Russell. And then we're going to file right down the line of these attorneys. We're going to paint the RICO picture so we can do this. We're going to roll them back into it. Enough people are coming forward. Enough people are calling me now and having meetings. I have a meeting every day this week. Keep getting braver. I am telling you, the level of this containment, we have driven fear into these people. Trust me, Ayotte protecting FRM, they're running for office. Wake up! Shaheen, don't put him back. Hassan, she's a dummy for Shaheen. Wake up! Ayotte protected the Ponzi scheme. It's the governor who puts the AG in there. They're looking for the shithead vote. Don't be a shithead. And you see these people? They shouldn't be living out of country. I met this woman whose husband worked for Blackwater. She's in hiding. I had to meet with her secretly. But please, don't lose heart. Show courage here. I'm telling you we can win this. And we're closer than you think. Thank you.